My 26F fiancé, 30M, thinks it's unreasonable for us to have sex twice on a 5-day vacation. We have been together for 7 years. During our relationship, we have had trouble with sex. I have a much higher drive than him. We have faced some sex-related trauma. We worked past it as best we could. After about 5 years of being together, his drive was so low he could care less whether we had sex at all. I refused to be in a dead bedroom, so we talked and made a compromise to have sex once every other weekend. Totals to about twice a month, which is much better than nothing, so I am happy. This has been working for us. We do not live together. We don't spend nights together as his apartment is extremely small and I rent out of some old lady's house, so no overnight guests. We don't go away often. We are going on vacation in August where we will be staying in an Airbnb for 5 days. We will be attending a weekend event and visiting some friends. I was randomly thinking and figured this would be a good opportunity for us to have sex twice. I love morning sex and we almost never get the chance to have it. I asked him the other day if we could do it twice during the 5-day vacation, suggesting our regular night sex and then morning sex another day. His first reaction was to look at me and say, "Twice?" in the most shocked way ever. I said, "I thought since we will be on vacation and able to sleep in the same bed and things will be special, you would want to make love to me a little extra." He replied, "I didn't think that sex was going to be the main point of the trip." That crushed me. I'm even willing to not have sex for a month just so we can twice in 1 week. Is it unreasonable for wanting sex twice in 5 days while on a special vacation overnight with my fiancé who I never get to sleep next to? I feel very shamed and like I'm asking for way too much. Edits because I keep seeing the same comments. 1. We don't live together. I am in school working towards a master's degree. I pay $350 a month in rent, a $50 car insurance bill, a $50 phone bill and food, gas, essentials. He pays $750 in rent plus all his bills. We cannot afford a rent higher than $1,000 with everything included. Nothing around here is that cheap. I am literally a dirt poor college student. We have spent 5+ days a week together for 7 years, so it's not like we don't see each other often. 2. We are both satisfied with the frequency of the sex. We tried every week and it was just too much for us. It would be nice to throw in a rondo sometimes, which we do but not often. No one is forced to do anything when they don't want to. We came to a compromise after we went through a dry spell of a few months when I put my foot down and told him I needed the intimacy. No, it's not spontaneous, but we go on dates either before or after the sex to spice it up. We both enjoy the sex. It's not like he hates it, lol. 3. I have borderline personality disorder. Say what you will about the disorder. I am in therapy and on medication and have been for years. I currently do not meet the criteria for BPD, so technically I am in remission. That being said, I struggle with the parts of BPD that can't be treated with meds. I have a strong fear of abandonment and my fiancé is my favorite person. I love him with my whole heart. He is my best friend in the whole world. I spent 7 years with him. It is simply harder for me to leave toxic situations. I am working on it with my therapist. 4. I will not comment on what the sexual trauma is to protect our privacy. Just that there was damage on both sides. No sexual abuse of any kind for either of us. Rough things that we have had to get through together that is mostly resolved at this time and does not interfere with our current sex life. It is only relevant to give backstory as to why I am so unsure of myself and my feelings in this moment. You know, marrying him means you want this incompatibility forever. Time, age, stress, careers, kids, energy, health, interest. Incompatibility will only make it get worse. Better to choose a great situation from the beginning. That can work because of equal motivation. This isn't it. So, at 26, you are going to marry a dude who will never sexually satisfy you unless you plead, threaten, beg, negotiate and/or emotionally extort from him. Every time? Sounds fun. You're sexually incompatible. He's not doing it to slight you. And you're not doing what you're doing to pester him. You're not unreasonable for wanting sex twice on a 5-day vacation. Want sex as much as you like. But you're unreasonable to expect it from a person who doesn't want it that much. Which is what you have. Don't get married knowing there's such a massive disconnect in sex drive. It's gonna be a painful lifetime. WTF, don't marry this guy lol, trust me you'll be miserable. What is unreasonable is why two people in love and planning on marriage are not sexually compatible. You cannot change him, and he cannot change you. Sex and intimacy should be joyful, not a duty on a schedule. Please go into counseling. If you love him, let him go. That is my advice. For your own sake. For his sake. You are both too young to waste time on a relationship that has no passion or intimacy. You are not compatible. Look, you're still young. I would seriously sit down and consider this incompatibility and whether this is truly a marriage you'd feel happy in another 7 years' time. If it's an issue now, and has been for a good few years and you're having to negotiate when you have sex, then it's very unlikely to resolve anytime soon. However, if every other aspect of your relationship is stellar, maybe you need to consider your options. Would an open relationship be something you'd both consider? I'm not advocating for these BTW. I am just throwing it out there as a potential solution. It sounds like you're lying to yourself that you're okay with the sex life you have. And the lying means you shouldn't be getting married. I am a 47-year-old woman who very much enjoys sex. And for years in previous relationships, I was shamed, for lack of a better word, for it, not really complaining, per se, from partners, but veiled comments and remarks about keeping up, and how most women don't enjoy sex the way you do, but said in a subtly negative way. I finally met a man who not only keeps up with me, but is absolutely delighted to have a woman who is as uninhibited as he is. Actually, he's been more sexually adventurous. And he's taught me a few things. Honey, this isn't going to get better. It took me 47 years to find a man who I absolutely adore and feel sexually free with. And the feeling is 100% mutual. Everyone deserves that in life. Including you and your so. But you and your so are fundamentally incompatible. Let him go and find yourself a man who enjoys sex as much as you do and is willing to have it with you. When on a trip I have sex with my BF multiple times every day of the trip. But sex is not the point of the trip. You can do both. You've been with him for 7 years. 2 years in, he decides he doesn't want sex with you anymore. And you basically had to force him into a regular schedule just to get your needs met. Plus, you don't live together after 7 years. My question is, why are you still with him? Why did you ever agree to marry this guy? What are you even getting from this relationship? When a 25-year-old man doesn't want sex with his GF anymore, you can bet something is either very wrong or he's having an affair. This isn't normal. You're still young. Go be with someone who actually wants to have a real relationship with you that includes intimacy. Stop wasting your life on someone who's clearly not ready to settle down. Why are you marrying this guy? 7 years and you don't even have sleepovers. Leave him, girl. Have sex. Check for low T. And if that's not the case, you have to consider whether thus incompatibility is worth it. The fact you've been together 7 years and don't live together shows a disconnect in your relationship. Then add on this massive sexual issue on top of it. These are major issues that marriage is not going to fix. Once you live together and barely get sex, you're going to resent him more and more. It's going to become glaringly obvious to you how disconnected you really are. Sweetheart, why are you wasting your time? You guys don't match. Why do people with high sex drive think they can be with someone who doesn't have a high sex drive? You both need to face facts and move on. It's not okay for him to have to force himself to have sex when he doesn't want to. That's called rape. You shouldn't have to forgo sex, so why are you still trying? Sex is very important. You understand the longer you are together, the less he's gonna want sex. Stop being in denial and break up. Block him. Find someone who wants you the way you want them. Please don't marry him. You're going to grow resentment, and this will bleed into other aspects of your relationship. Find someone who meets your sex drive. Sexual incompatibility leads to infidelity and divorce. Save yourself the pain. It's not unreasonable to want to have sex twice in 5 days. Then again, I'm not your fiancé who seems to find this to be such an ask. But you need to reconsider marriage with this man altogether. You're engaged to a guy who doesn't want to have a lot of sex while you have a much higher sex drive. At least, in my marriage, pre-marriage, pre-kid, my husband would keep up with me. I have a much higher libido than he does. And when we did go somewhere, this was before he's sick, there were days when we'd have sex multiple times in a day. Once you're married and with kids, sex life with your partner will often slow down. In your case, you will 100% have a dead bedroom with this man. If you're fine with this, go ahead and marry him. Otherwise, sex-wise you are incompatible. So if you're fine with this life for the rest of your life, get married to him. It's a very sad dialogue. You do know the average answer for this question for your age group? When you go in holidays and both of you have energy and no work, it would be totally normal to have sex every day or even twice a day at 26. I don't think he's good for you.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.